Again, graphic. Ventura's husband, Alex Fine, at one point walking out of court as his wife was peppered with questions about allegedly being raped. Also today, Dawn Richard spotted entering court, the former member of Diddy's girl group, Danity Kane, who prosecutors also called to the stand.
This week has been extremely challenging, but also remarkably empowering and healing for me. I hope that my testimony has given strength and a voice to other survivors and can help others who have suffered to speak up and also heal from abuse and fear. For me, the more I heal, the more I can remember. And the more I can remember, the more I will never forget.
Is there anything that you may want to confess tonight before you go in?
I keep everything.
She looked
right
sweet
here.
in that photo, right?
Oh,
But
right.
behind that smile was something far darker, something Cassie kept buried for years. That wasn't just a secret in her eyes. It was a silent scream, a decade of fear, violence, manipulation, and emotional torment. On the night of the Met Gala, whispers say Diddy assaulted her in a bathroom. And shockingly, some celebrities saw it happen but chose to stay silent. Now Cassie, 9 months pregnant and brave beyond words, has finally spoken out during Diddy's criminal trial. And what she revealed is more harrowing than anyone imagined. We're talking forced parties with strangers, threats of blackmail, terrifying emotional collapses. Cassie even said the pain got so overwhelming she wanted to step into traffic. She compared her suffering to the horrors faced by Tina Turner at the hands of Ike. Yes, that infamous eat the cake Anna Mae kind of trauma. And now that courtroom footage has surfaced, the doors have been blasted wide open. It's time to unpack everything Cassie endured and what this could mean for Diddy's future behind bars. Of course, Diddy's legal team is scrambling. They're asking, if things were really that bad, why didn't she speak up sooner? But the answer? It's painfully simple and rooted in control, fear, and survival.
Cassie, she was embarrassed by it. She even talked about, what would I tell my mom if something like this got out?
Yeah, that part. A crippling fear of what Diddy might do next if she made the slightest move against him.
There was a text message shared from 2017 where she said, nothing good comes out of freak-offs. And then she says, you treat me like you're Ike Turner. And that was a nod to...
Cassie didn't casually drop Ike Turner's name. She launched it like a grenade. Those 8 words weren't just a reference. They were a warning, a signal of generational pain. Because if you know the Ike and Tina story, you know it was never just about black eyes. It was about domination, control, fear that reaches so deep it rewires your survival instincts. That's what Cassie says happened to her. She was barely out of her teens, a young singer on the rise. Diddy, nearly 40, already a mogul. And instead of mentoring her, he caged her. When did she sign with Bad Boy Records? 2006? It was supposed to be a 10-album deal. How many did she release after that first year? None, not one. Instead of a music career, she got a decade of trauma. Cassie told the court she wasn't just abused, she was groomed, love-bombed, promised everything, then stripped of herself, inch by inch. And like Tina Turner before her, she had to smile for the cameras and suffer in silence behind closed doors. But now, that silence has shattered. She described being forced into twisted freak-offs, with male escorts being filmed without her consent, being urinated on, sometimes while on her period, and physically assaulted. One escort, Daniel Filla, took the stand and said Diddy once made him force himself into Cassie's mouth while she choked, all while filming it for blackmail. He testified that he saw Diddy drag her by the hair, screaming, into a bedroom, and what he heard next was the sound of slaps. Yesterday, Cassie herself confirmed it in chilling detail. When the prosecutor asked her, "Why were you choking?" she answered, "Too much in my mouth." Then came the gut punch. "Did you want Sean to do that to you?" Her reply, "I didn't want anyone to." And when asked how often it happened, "Often enough," she said quietly. "Let that settle in. These aren't just accusations, they're revelations. Brutal, raw, and finally spoken aloud."
Diddy's ex, Cassie Ventura, who is 9 months pregnant, was on the stand for the second day in a row. The jury was shown photos of past injuries. She also testified the freak-offs left her with sores, frequent UTIs, and stomach problems.
This wasn't wild partying, it was ritual humiliation. Cassie said she couldn't say no without fearing for her safety. "I didn't want him to be angry," she explained. She deleted videos from her own phone to avoid blackmail, even begging him to do the same. His reply, "No iCloud, all good." That chilling calm, it says everything. And when she finally left, Diddy allegedly raped her on her own living room floor during a closure talk. Now imagine speaking those words 9 months pregnant in front of him and the world.
And Cassie Ventura completing her testimony. She's been pretty stoic, but this afternoon she broke down in tears.
She did, Eva, and she had kept her composure for most of her 4 days on the witness stand under really uncomfortable cross-examination and testimony generally, the most intimate, graphic, demeaning things that you could imagine. She spoke about in open court in front of everybody, and she broke down today when she was asked by prosecutor Emily Johnson on redirect examination whether Sean Combs had her during freak-offs, those marathon-fueled sessions with male dudes.
Her testimony brought the courtroom to tears, but one quote silenced the room. It wasn't about money, it was about reclaiming her soul. I would give the money back because I would have agency and autonomy, and I wouldn't have to work so hard to get those things back. That $20 million settlement, she'd trade it in a heartbeat just to be free. That's why the Ike Turner text mattered. It wasn't drama, it was a cry for freedom, the same kind Tina Turner once fought for. Tina said, "I felt obligated to stay, and after he beat me, I felt sorry for him. Maybe I was brainwashed." Cassie echoed that same haunting truth. She blamed herself, covered bruises with shame, smiled when she wanted to disappear.
Claiming the defense dragging it out, trying to force a mistrial. The testimony,
I felt like an object
graphic.
being heavily
Ventura's husband,
objectified
Alex
by
Fine,
men.
at one
Her
point,
trauma was so raw,
walking
her
out
husband had to leave the room. Interview. She didn't have to testify. Cassie had already secured a $20 million settlement, but she showed up anyway, 9 months pregnant, not for money, but for something bigger, to reclaim her agency. What she didn't expect was the storm that followed. Just as her courtroom revelations began fading from the headlines, the 2018 Met Gala.
She once said, "I felt obligated to stay there and I was afraid. I didn't want to hurt him, and after he beat me up, I was just sitting there all bruised and torn, and all of a sudden, I'm feeling sorry for him. Maybe I was brainwashed." And Cassie, she told the court she often blamed herself for what happened.
Resurfaced, and everything changed. Suddenly, it wasn't just words on the stand. It was her face, caught in real time, in 4K. A moment the world missed, now impossible to ignore. The Met Gala is fashion's most glamorous night, but in 2018, something darker slipped behind the velvet ropes, something no one dared to speak about until now.
Prosecutors claiming the defense dragging it out, trying to force a mistrial. The testimony, again, graphic. Ventura's husband, Alex Fine, at one point walking out of court as his wife was peppered with questions about allegedly being. Also today, Dawn Richard spotted entering court, the former member of Diddy's girl group, Danity Kane, who prosecutors also called to the stand.
Behind the glamour and flashing lights, Cassie says she was trapped, controlled, humiliated, and abused every single day. And on that very night, whispers say Diddy allegedly assaulted her in a Met Gala bathroom with other celebrities present. They saw, they stayed silent. See, people like Diddy don't just harm in private. They do it in rooms full of people, too scared to speak. And under oath just days ago, Cassie revealed that she wasn't even allowed to say no. Her body, schedule, even her health were all managed for one thing: freak-offs. They weren't rare events, they were her full-time reality. There was no time to do anything else but to do them, then try to recover. Cassie's testimony painted a grim picture: sores, constant UTIs that stopped responding to medication. Were the UTIs painful? Yes, very. Antibacterials didn't work anymore. During freak-offs, she described the pain as burning. I would not advise it, but it wasn't just the physical toll. She wasn't merely forced to participate. She was allegedly filmed, recorded, and held hostage by the threat of blackmail. One time I was dating someone else and he threatened to release the freak-off videos. I'd have to answer to my mother. It's horrible and disgusting. No one should do that to anyone. What did Diddy say the consequence would be? Shame. So when the Met Gala footage resurfaced, it wasn't just morbid curiosity. It was recognition. The stiff posture, the rehearsed tone. Diddy behind. Her, laughing, but watching her every move. And later that night, off camera, hidden from the live stream, rumors, now echoed by courtroom testimony, say he allegedly beat her in a private bathroom, and Cassie wasn't the only one there. Other celebrities were allegedly nearby, maybe even inside that bathroom. Whether they heard the thuds, the cries, or saw her emerge visibly shaken, no one said a word. Because in 2018, Diddy wasn't on trial. He was still untouchable. He was Puff, brother love, the mogul who could make or break your career with a single call. Cassie? She was seen as the lucky girl who dated the boss, but behind the smiles and designer gowns, she was living a nightmare. That night at the Met Gala became a haunting symbol of her life. Pain wrapped in couture, bruises beneath the glam, a woman suffering in plain sight, surrounded by silence from those with power. There was a time I couldn't take the pain, she said in court. I tried to walk out into traffic. She testified to being slammed into walls, stomped in the face, dragged through hotel hallways, and even dangled from a balcony before being thrown onto patio furniture. And this isn't just her word, there's footage. The 2016 hotel surveillance video has surfaced, and it's chilling.
Anything that you may want to confess tonight before you go in.
I keep everything right here.
There you go.
Or right here.
There you go.
At the time, folks thought it was just a coy, cute, maybe mysterious Cassie. But now, it feels like a code, a message.
Rumors spread fast, sparking outrage everywhere. But Diddy's team stayed silent, as usual. No charges, no consequences. Yet now, that very same video, the full 15 minutes, played out in the Manhattan federal courtroom for all to see. Courtroom, journalists say the room fell completely silent. The edited clips everyone knew, child's play compared to the raw footage they just saw, the uncut video laid bare Cassie's nightmare, the frantic moments before and after the attack. She was trying to escape. The assault was the fallout of a freak-off gone horribly wrong. Barefoot and desperate, she was calling the front desk, begging for help. But Diddy chased her down, dragged her back, and allegedly trashed the hotel room in the chaos. The jury didn't just see the violence, they held the proof. Federal agents presented the money, the baby oil, and every piece Cassie described as part of the freak-off setup, all confirmed by items found in Diddy's hotel room the night he was arrested. Interview. Then came the question that silenced the entire courtroom. Did he beat you during freak-offs? Cassie's eyes welled up as she quietly said, "Yes, this isn't just about accusations anymore. We're facing hard evidence, surveillance footage, eyewitness accounts, federal raids, visible injuries, and a brave survivor risking everything to reclaim her peace." Interview. And yet, it took this long for the world to truly believe her. So, here's the real question. Everyone knew, but why did they stay silent? Cassie wasn't hidden away in some dark basement. She was front and center, on red carpets, VIP booths, front rows at
allegedly shows Combs' then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura in a hallway. A now-settled lawsuit filed by Ventura claimed that she was trying to leave the hotel after a drunken Combs punched her. The video appears to show Combs chasing her down the hall, throwing her to the ground, and then repeatedly kicking her.
Fashion shows. Walking hand in hand with Diddy at the Met Gala, the Grammys, the BT Awards, she was visible. But behind that spotlight, she was suffering. And those powerful celebrities, connected, outspoken, did nothing. Cassie confirmed, long whispered, rumors. Diddy surrounded himself with an army of assistants, bodyguards, and celebrity friends, while she was treated like an object, pushed, slapped, stomped on, sometimes right in front of them. She testified that after one brutal night, she showed up at a party bruised and beaten. Instead of concern, a bed executive told her to smile because that's what you do when it's Diddy. You fake the vibe, laugh it off, post the photo, because nobody wants to be the one to ruin the mood. And the few who tried to help, they were shut down or silenced. Once, even after being beaten, Cassie called Scott Messy Kid Cudi for help. Diddy's response? According to Cassie, Sean wanted Scott's friends to see Scott's car blown up. Yes, you heard that right. Cassie's ex-boyfriend's car was blown up after she reached out for help. If that sounds like a movie plot, that's exactly how Diddy allegedly operated, with money, fear, and power. Daniel Phillips, the male escort Daniel Phillips, who testified just days ago, echoed this chilling reality. When asked why he stayed silent, he said, "I saw a man with unlimited power. Even if I went to the police, there was a chance I'd lose my life. In an industry built on image and influence, who's really going to speak up when the guy holding the checkbook is the one accused?" Now let's turn to Danny Lee, another former artist under Diddy's wing. Like Cassie, she came forward in 2023 with her own lawsuit, accusing him of abuse and exploitation.
So the federal agent who helped coordinate the search of Sean Combs' hotel room, she's the one that held up $9,000 in cash, kind of fanned it like a deck of cards for the jury to see. She also testified that there was ketamine and MDMA found in Combs' hotel room and other, well, kinds of supplies that Cassie Ventura said he would stock for freak-offs.
After the prosecution asked the one question that shut the room down, did he beat you during freak-offs? Cassie's eyes brimming said, yes. So now we're not just talking about allegations, we're talking about surveillance footage, witness testimony, federal raids, visible injuries, and a survivor willing to risk it all for her peace.
Diddy's ex, Cassie Ventura, who is 9 months pregnant, was on the stand for the second day in a row. The jury was shown photos.
And this isn't just a press release. It's a full-on mission statement. Cassie's fight has grown beyond herself. She's now the voice for every woman who's been groomed, silenced, and left to fade behind someone else's spotlight. What a wild week it's been. The industry is trembling because if Diddy falls, he's not going down alone. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Cassie was the only one? Why do you think so many celebrities stayed quiet for so long? And do you believe there are more videos waiting to drop? Drop your thoughts and comments below, because this story is far from over. The trial is moving fast, the tea keeps boiling, and the next update might just set Hollywood on fire. So hit subscribe, grab your fresh brew, and stay tuned. See you next time. Music.
Challenging, but also remarkably empowering and healing for me. I hope that my testimony has given strength and a voice to other survivors and can help others who have suffered to speak up and also heal from it and fear. For me, the more I heal, the more I can remember. And the more I can remember, the more I will never forget.
Nephew Don worked alongside Cassie for years and witnessed the horrors firsthand, and now she's finally breaking her silence. She described a terrifying moment when she asked about Diddy's phone, only for him to throw her to the ground and attempt to kick her. She fell into a fetal position, desperately trying to shield her head. Don also recounted seeing Diddy hit Cassie with a skillet full of eggs. She was terrified, not just for Cassie, but for herself if she dared to speak up. Despite survivors stepping forward, the silence from other celebrities is deafening. Where are the apologies from those who stood beside Diddy on red carpets, who posted "Me Too" when it was trending, but then scrolled past Cassie's pain? Let's be honest, the industry protected him. They turned a blind eye because the hits kept coming, because nobody wanted to lose VIP access to Bad Boy for life. Cassie was young, beautiful, a kept woman in their eyes, a symbol of privilege, not a victim. Even now, after the tapes, photos, and that damning 15-minute hotel surveillance video, the silence goes on. But when Cassie walked out of that courtroom, she said little. Her lawyer's words, however, struck like a gavel, echoing loud and clear.